Wait a second, I have 4,000. Oh, what the fuck? I have
Refreshing.
what now? I have 4,000 of the premium currency. Um. Okay.
More violence, less violence.
So. I don't get it. Okay, so I'm trying to make heads or tails of this. Why I bought the game originally. So I actually bought Guild Wars 2 before it was actually a thing. Like, okay, so Guild Wars 2 is now a free game, right? And with that, they had to adjust a lot of stuff for that free to play market. And so now they have a subscription service like a lot of games do. Well, that wasn't always the case.
Stay alert.
Originally, Guild Wars 2 was a purchase and own game. And basically what that meant was you bought the game. And you owned it, as it would make sense. And with that in mind, there was a lot of stuff that was free. But now with this new subscription model, that doesn't work. Just because then it disincentivizes people from buying these things. Right? And you could buy a lot of that stuff even when it was purchase and own. But for subscribers now, they gain a bonus to a lot of stuff. I think it's 25% across the board, pretty much. And if I'm remembering correctly, a lot of people took exception to this. And when I say it took exception, they were outright angry. Though, because the game had been out for so long, it was already so established, it didn't really matter. Not because it didn't matter, quote unquote, but more that it was the people that were complaining were already sort of planning on leaving because the game had been out for so long. But now that it went free to play, there have been 2 expansions since then. And now that I'm coming back, I played before the expansions, before the the newest two expansions. I don't know if there were more before that. I'm kind of liking that, but like this, you can 50
I'm
gold.
sworn
What?
to protect this place.
Oh, that's right, because gold is so difficult to get. So, but they also have this system in place where people can transfer between gold and gems. It's lose-lose either way, no matter how many you're transferring. And by that I mean it's not profitable to switch back and forth. You're either transferring gems for gold or you're transferring gold for gems. You should never transfer back and forth. It's just not ever worth it. And that makes it a lot easier to justify the pay to skip mentality that this game seems to have adopted. Now, I didn't exactly play a lot before they went free to play. I played up to about level 30.
Is that a challenge,
And
sir?
I think at the time the level cap was level 60, I want to say. So I got to experience about about a third, if not a fourth, of the leveling experience, and that may have just made it so that I didn't think so highly or so negatively, of the game. And I'm totally fine with that. I'm,
Seize
know,
the moment.
that's all there is to it. I'm fine with that because there's nothing wrong with that. We're gonna try this, but pay to skip mechanics are seeming to pop up constantly as the most recent example of this is Destiny 2's Bright Ingrams example that everyone seems to love picking apart. Now, if you somehow manage... What the fuck? Okay, if you somehow manage to avoid all of that, all of the hubbub and all of the drama surrounding Bright Ingrams and the whole thing, then here's a little refresher. More or less what's going on is the Destiny 2 game is taking a system from Destiny 1, specifically the shaders, which were a customization method for your character that would allow you to recolor your gear, and making those shaders one-time use. Now, on paper, that doesn't sound too bad, but in practice, in practice, what they've done is they've implemented that you can get these shaders through Bright Ingrams, which to buy Bright Ingrams, you have to buy silver. And to buy silver, you have to use real money. Now, this whole situation, they've essentially taken a system that was cosmetic in nature, strictly cosmetic in nature, that was a way to show your creativity and color your character and have fun, and monetized it. Now, if you're like some people and you have a ton of money and you're willing to spend it, you can buy these bright engrams that more or less just skip that grind, because you can find them out in the world. But it's not a cool thing to do to a game. In my opinion, it's one of those things that if you're going to do this, either make the system completely different, and by completely different, I mean completely different. I'm just talking a little bit different. And give it new life, right? Oh, that is the list of point thing. And they haven't done that. A good way that I see, me personally, I played a little bit of Destiny 1. I reached the level cap. And then I stopped playing because I didn't have any fun with the game. It wasn't my kind of game. Destiny 2 is supposedly a lot better, having taken notes and not done the same things as Destiny 1. A good way that I could see to adjusting for this new system is to have shaders drop at an increased rate, which is what they've said is going to happen already. And on top of that, instead of getting one shader that is a predefined color pattern, have multiple shaders, the same amount that you would have gotten before, four colors in total, and have those individual colors be able to color individual sections of armor, instead of it all being, just one big clump of, here's the color scheme you get, you're gonna like it, or you're gonna deal with it. And I think, that's not exactly the best idea, because that could just be monetized. Or to help make it so that later down the road they drop 3, then 2, then 1, and suddenly everyone's pissed off again. But it's a thought, and it's an idea. Sorry, I'm drinking tea. And if you were to have that idea in place, then it would be more understandable for the one-time use, because you're not just coloring your entire armor, you're coloring a single section. Lovely. And mind you, this would not act as like a replacement for the current system. Well, it would, but it would be a better way of implementing this new system that they're trying to monetize a high hell. And as much as I like the idea of customization in a game such as Destiny 2 and Destiny in the original, because it's an MMO light. It really is. It's a looter shooter. Much like, what the fuck is it called? Borderlands. Excuse me. Much like Borderlands, where the whole point about Borderlands is you shoot things, they die, they drop them, you have more fun. Pretty much in that order. Rinse, repeat. And in Destiny 1, the feeling that I got was they were trying to go for that uh, Borderlands vibe with the guns and whatnot. But because they didn't have the same randomly generated weapon systems that would sometimes generate very, very interesting weapon combinations. Such as a weapon that shot bouncing, exploding pellets. It doesn't work quite as well. And so, at the end of the day, you have to look at it and kind of go, well, why does that say 4? Okay. Oh yeah, and because you don't have that cool and interesting variations on weapons and whatnot, you end up with a very dull experience, especially if your game's centered around continued looting and acquisition of weapons. And even then, within Destiny 1, there were a few weapons that if you did not have, you could not participate in the endgame content. Such as Gallahorn, I think is the most famous example of this occurring. So it's frustrating to see a game do this. Any game. We've seen it with Fallout, we've seen it with Destiny 2, and we'll see it with Skyrim if they don't decide to change that entire system. And the whole monetization stuff, it all ends up being a problem at one point or another.
Thank you for all your help.
And looking at these systems and seeing what they're doing is incredibly frustrating. Because if you actually look at the wow, I'm having a rough day. The Fallout 4 game files,
That should do it, right?
you can actually find the Creation Club mods already installed onto your computer. No joke, if you actually go into the game file. Now, this may have changed, but unless it's changed within the last, 72 to 48 to 72 hours, they are there, and they are not going away. Because the reason the system is set up like this is to get around PlayStation's limitations on what can and can't be on the system. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. Because the limitations are there. The limitations are there supposedly to protect their customers from, malware and whatnot. And or hacking into their console. Which I can understand to a degree, but it's still just really, really frustrating. I have already earned some. I could probably go on like a 2-hour rant of creation, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to leave it at this. I mean, in all reality, there's not much more to actually talk about. So,
Fresh sights.
That ends that. Color.